Alright, well, we can start by introducing ourselves, and then we'll just let you all take it away.
Okay, so I said hello earlier, but I'm Kalina Rubitsky. I'm the manager of the upper class experience and residence life and services.
Hello, I'm Jamie. I work in the Greek Life office. I'm the coordinator for Greek councils, and I'm doing all of the scholarship presentation.
And Shreya. Shreya's in order of Omega.
Thank you. And she's a senior. There we go.
I'm Jen DeSantis. I work over in educational services for students, supervising peer tutors, study groups, and that seems odd.
So we're at Sigma Psi. I'm Lauren. I'm Christine. And we're here to give you our scholarship presentation. So I guess we want to start with talking about some of our programming basics. We have a two-part system. So the first part is sort of individual student and community engagement. So it's kind of based on a daffodil, which is what our symbol is. And we literally do have daffodils that are on our walls. And you earn your pedal by doing sort of the baseline things that an individual should be doing to be a good student. So whether it's attending, professor's office hours, getting a tutor for a class, that kind of thing. So that's one of our requirements. We actually just wrote that into our minimum expectations of membership, which we passed this year. So it's an accountability measure, basically to make sure that our chapter members are meeting the minimum expectations of being a good member in good standing with our chapter. And then on top of that, once you get your pedal, you can start putting up leaves. And these are basically recognizing you going out into the community and participating in intellectual development activities, taking hold of opportunities, getting opportunities. So if you get a job interview, that counts as a pedal. So sort of rewarding you for doing all things and for the results that your hard work are showing. We also the best way that I can describe it is it's like a parent's refrigerator. You do something really cool and exciting, or you bring home an A+ on a test, you want to put it up on a refrigerator so everybody can see the awesome things you're doing. So they're up on a wall, you put your leaf up, and everybody can see the cool things that you're doing.
We also have a scholarship mentor-mentee program. In the past, it's been a lot of major orientation, but right now we've moved towards focusing on future career goals. And so it's 2 or 3 younger members and older members paired together. Each group is, we don't really have strict guidelines for each group. It's very free-form. It's like what your group needs. So for instance, my group, we have accountability, so a lot of it is like we met at the beginning of the semester, we worked out when everyone's tests and quizzes and homeworks were due, and now I get emails and I send emails that are like, hey, you have something due on Tuesday, make sure have you started yet? You said you wanted to get this essay done ahead of time to talk to the professor, so you should be halfway through by now, where are you? And so it's a sort of, it creates checks for goals that you set in the beginning of the semester together.
So GPA is something that we've been focusing on over the past calendar year a lot. As you can see, we dropped down pretty dramatically in 2013, so this is something we've been working really hard to bring up and focusing a lot on realistic goal setting. One of the other initiatives we did is we raised our GPA requirement at the beginning of this calendar year from a 2.5 to a 2.75. So this is our requirement for membership. We also raised a lot of our requirements to hold officer positions based on that. And we were really excited to see that we actually achieved a higher GPA than we've seen in the past several years, which was very exciting for us. And we also saw that our chapter's individual ranking went up, which was something that we were really pushing for. So we're very excited about that.
Jen is our faculty advisor. She holds office hours in our house, which really helps sisters get to know her in a more relaxed environment so that they're more willing to go talk to her about scholarship, which is not something everyone is comfortable with.
We also have revamped our contract process and incorporated Jen and working with Jen into that contract process, which I will talk about now. So our new version of our scholarship contract, because we raised the GPA requirement, obviously we were going to experience some more people being on this contract. We also adjusted so that there would be an onset and midterm meeting with Jen to help determine areas of weakness, things that our sisters should be focusing on a little more, and work on, identifying areas that should be a focus for goal setting and work. And we also had quarterly meetings with the scholarship chairs. And we also offered an optional contract for sisters. So this was not the full force of the scholarship contract, but for sisters who felt that they were struggling, who wanted that extra accountability measure, we offered to them the ability to create their own contract with the scholarship chairs, which is something a lot of our sisters who have come off contract have found really helpful in terms of maintaining that accountability, which they really enjoyed. We also saw that from the spring and fall of 2014, we had to the spring of 2015, we had a 50% drop in the number of people on contract. So from 2014 to 2015, there was a 50% drop in the number of people on contract in our chapter. So we went from about 14% being on contract to 8% of the chapter being on contract, which is those are numbers we're really excited about.
So this is a connection between scholarship and other pillars. We have SIG Talks, which are when sisters come in and they talk about not exactly like scholarship things, but things that they're passionate about and things that they're interested in. Sometimes they're career related, sometimes they're like, this is how you use CAD, or this is how you knit a blanket or make a t-shirt, like blanket and things like that. So it's like things that sisters are passionate about outside of their own majors, and it's a way for other sisters to like learn about what you're interested in and to develop like interest intellectually in like a broad basis.
It's supposed to be designed on like TED Talks. So TED Talks are short, talks that people give about things that they're really passionate about. So we do SIG Talks. And one of the really cool ones that I know Christine was telling me about, I didn't get a chance to go to it. One of my favorites was the one where our sister taught us how to use CAD, because I'm an engineer and useful life skills.
We had another one about why my culture is important to me from a sister who's half Jamaican and half Chinese, and it was like an interesting talk about like traditions and ways that like being biracial in the U.S. is like a positive thing, and how she like has had to really struggle with like a sense of dichotomy in her culture. So.
Another thing that we've been doing in our chapter over the past year is Strengths Quest. We did an initial activity where we asked all our chapter members to take the Strengths Quest inventory, and we've done a series of follow-up activities with Jamie to talk about how to incorporate knowing what your strengths are into group projects, teamwork, creating a resume, how to highlight your strengths, how to talk about in an interview about your strengths. Using sort of what we learned from Strengths Quest. So that was something that we did, trying to tie that into professional development and recruitment, how to talk about your strengths and how to highlight them. And we also did a True Colors activity, which is something that a lot of our sisters liked, and then translated into how they learn and process different information, which was really cool.
Okay, so we've had like a really big improvement in chapter GPA, and part of that is through our recruitment strategies. We've learned through boot camps and through recruitment clinics how to recruit the scholars that we want for the future, which is something we're really working towards. And you can see that because this past fall, our new members had the highest new member GPA.
So we're very excited about the improved scholarship that we're seeing in our incoming pledge classes. It's definitely something that we're very excited about in terms of not having new members come in and have to immediately go on scholarship contract. It's something that we're very, very excited about. We've also been incorporating more alumni workshops, so we have a really awesome network of alumni, especially a lot that happen to still be in the local area. And we've been working with them to have career workshops, resume workshops. I've always found that our alumni resume workshops are super helpful. We've also had them come in to incorporating them into our recruitment workshops to talk about how recruitment translates into the real world. So job interviews, working with other people, having conversations. So that's another thing that we've really been working on in terms of professional development, how the things you're doing and learning in the chapter progress into your life, your career, and your job aspirations.
They also came in last semester and gave us are you in the right major? If you don't feel like you're in the right major, this is really how you can tailor your major to help you try and achieve what you want for the future.
Yeah, they were part of some of our programming, trying to reduce the stigma around changing your major. You know, a lot of people will walk in, I am an engineer, I'm going to be an engineer, and it's really hard to realize that maybe this isn't the right thing for me. Maybe I need to explore other opportunities, and it's okay to do that. We've also been working on creating a more holistic view of membership development. So we've been working on a lot of program consolidation. We're actually putting our plan into effect starting this semester. So it's still in its infancy, but last semester and last year we were working on a lot of changing the mindset of the chapter to think of scholarship is not its own compartment, it's not its own separate thing. It is part of everything that we do. You know, we came to CASE first. We are scholars first. We joined a sorority second. And so viewing scholarship as a part of your development as a member and as a part of your development in terms of what you're going to do after this experience is something that we've been really focusing on. Yeah. Questions?
Questions? Priya, if you'd like to write something down.
I can ask a question for you.
I'm just curious if you could just talk a little, I think you've mentioned it a little bit and we can kind of gather some information, but if you could just talk specifically about the attitude of your members towards intellectual development and how they understand scholarship versus intellectual development, and you're talking about the integration of all these things, which I think is wonderful, but do your members kind of understand that interconnectedness?
So in terms of intellectual development as it relates to scholarship, I think a lot of them understand it as this is the stuff that you reach out and find in the community. It's the stuff that sometimes goes above and beyond your major. It's not the baseline necessarily going to office hours. It's not the baseline getting a tutor, studying for an exam. It's the experiences that you find that surround your education and make you a more well-rounded person. So that's, I think, sort of the understanding that our chapter has is it's what you go and you find for yourself. It's what you're passionate about that maybe not necessarily fits perfectly into your career, but path. But it's the stuff that makes you a more interesting and well-rounded person and better able to get there.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the True Colors program?
Yeah, so True Colors is basically like a personality or inventory kind of.
It's kind of like how you think, I guess. So there are 4 different colors. There's blue, green, gold, and orange. Blue is like you think emotionally, so you put like emotions in like your reasoning. Gold is you think
very strategically, very
so
like list oriented.
You like lists, and green is cognitive.
Green is cognitive. It's more like critical thinking, kind of reasoning.
And then orange is like spontaneous, I guess.
Spontaneous, yeah. Group think kind of oriented, more brainstorming, like talk to people, get ideas kind of idea.
So it sounds like a great program and with the strengths class, but kind of what Jamie, I think, was asking is how much buy-in is there? So is it putting on the programs and individuals have to come, or does everybody really feel that excitement about these particular items?
So I think for these two, I've experienced a lot of really positive feedback from these. They were things that we asked people to come to because the first time this is presented to you, it's kind of like, I don't know what this is. What is this? So they were things that we actually required people to show up to the first time that they were brought about. But I think it's something that's been a really positive thing and people have really enjoyed. You can still hear people saying, well, I'm a gold, so this is why I'm doing this. Or this is kind of explains why I am behaving the way I am. Or, this is why I prefer to do this. Or, well, this is one of my strengths, kind of deal. So I think in terms of like now that they've experienced it, I think a lot of people are really excited about it and have appreciated the fact that now they have a language and a sort of like set of key identifiers that they can use to sort of help describe themselves and really, interact with other people and understand and be aware a little more of why other people function the way they do and why they may not function the same way. So I think maybe initially people didn't understand, but I think as they've experienced it and worked with these different inventories and learned this kind of new language, I guess, I think it's been a really positive thing and has really helped people to kind of have the shared experience and have a shared, like, I'm a blue, I'm a green, I'm an activator, that kind of language to identify with.
And Jamie came in like last week or the week before that to talk to us again about Strengths Quest because a lot of our chapter members wanted to follow up. So like at first it was like, what is this? And now it's like, oh, I want to learn more. I want to see how I can apply this to like use these words in a way that like other people wouldn't for like a resume or a job interview and things like that.
We also had some of our chapter members wanted to do more kinds of things like this, so that sparked, now we're going to be doing an MBTI assessment at our sisterhood retreat with Amy Jackson's going to be leading it. So that's something that a lot of our sisters are really excited about.
Can you talk to us a little bit, and I know from just hearing and from experience working with your chapter that you've put a lot of new things in place recently within the
Yes.
past year or so, which is great. But can you talk to us, have you seen, other than the GPA, have you been able to assess any type of impact of this holistic membership development, of introducing these intellectual development opportunities? Are you able to tell impact yet, or are you kind of waiting to see in the next year what that looks like?
So a lot of the impacts that we've been able to see thus far have been very much numbers related because that's where a lot of our focus has been. When our GPA is low, we have trouble filling officer positions, we have trouble getting people to be involved in the chapter because really they need to be focusing on their academics when they're struggling there. Like I said, part of our core scholarship philosophy is that you came to case first, you joined a sorority second. So you need to be a scholar first. So yeah, we have had a lot of focus on the numbers. And because now that we're seeing improvement with these numbers, now we're looking at pushing more forward into, okay, how can we build off of this? How can we push more of these initiatives? How can we develop more, do more with intellectual development? How can we do more with, professional development and professional integrity? So no, to answer your question, no, we don't have as many results in terms of how our other initiatives are working, but we're taking the numbers and the results that we have there and using that as a foundation to push off and work on developing a stronger system in terms of what you build on top of that and getting results from that.
Yeah, makes sense. Any other questions?
Benchmark one?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask that. Yeah. Can you tell us which benchmark you feel that you're going for in the scholarship pillar?
So I think that this year we've sort of been looking at, we made a lot of things happen. We did a lot of things, made a lot of new things. So this was the first year where we actually saw them in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think where we're at now is sort of, okay, look at what happened, analyze the results, see see what we got out of these, and then build off of that further.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that I don't think we're at excellence. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think there's definitely a lot more that should go into a program and the chapter's efforts in order to get there. But I think that we've hit distinction. We hit it last year. I think we've pretty much stayed there and have, if not made it a more solid foundation of distinction, so that we can hopefully push into excellence next year.
Any other thoughts?